Welcome to this episode of the Tulips Bloom Quilt. In the last episode, we started to construct those rows. In this episode, we are bringing those rows together to form the tulips. We're going to look at pressing the rows and the importance of nesting those rows together. When I make my quilt tops, I like to make them in two halves. This means that I'm working on the two different halves of the quilt top and it's not getting too heavy for me. However, for this particular quilt, because we have flying geese in the middle, I've constructed these two rows separately on their own. And the reason I've done that is because they are a little bit tricky to line up if you've never lined them up before. We've assembled our rows and now we're ready to start piecing all of those rows together. So to make life easier for you, I recommend that you press your seams across on one side, because what we're going to do is nest those seams together. And I'll show you how we nest those seams. This will make your life easier in the long run. It's awkward having to use an iron on a narrowboat because I have to generate my own electricity, which means on this little boat we've only got solar power, which is not sort of strong enough. So that's my first row pressed, and now my second row, which is going to form part of the tulip, needs to be pressed the other way. So you can see here, these are all pressing to the left as I'm looking at it. It might be back to front actually by the time I've sorted this video out. And I'm going to take this and turn it the other way around. It will all become clear. If you're a confident quilter and you've been doing this quite a long time, you'll do this automatically. But if you're new to quilting, you don't know what you don't know. Just move that out of the way. You do this for every row. So you press the seams one way to the left, and then the next row you press the seams to the right. And when you sew them together, they will all nest beautifully. So can you see that for this, one of the seams is facing one way and one of the seams is facing the other way? And when you're sewing your rows together, you will end up with the seam one way on the bottom and the seam the other way on the top, and then you alternate it as you keep building those rows up. So now we've pressed the rows, we're going to start sewing those rows together, and this is called nesting the seams. And you can see here that we've pressed one row one way and one row the other, so the seams are facing one way on one row and the seams are facing the opposite way on the other row. And this will really help you get those points good and neat. Can you see there? Those two seams pressed the opposite way. It really is worth pressing those seams to get them nested lovely. So here's my first half of the Tulips Bloom quilt, and I think it's looking really striking. I would absolutely love to see your tulips and your colourways. So are you making an orange tulip, a yellow tulip, a bright pink tulip? Please comment below and let me know, and everybody else, what you're up to. If you like this episode, please press the like button and subscribe to my channel at Rope and Anchor Trading Co.